Hello? Are we rolling? I think we're rolling. Make it to 360 going. 360. Alright, we're good. What a lovely, beautiful day. So, you have clicked on this video because you want to be able to do this. But whoa, motorcycling is a skill that takes years to master. How are you going to get to that level if you don't even know how to start a bike? Well, today we're going to teach you how to start a bike and how to start riding a bike as if you didn't know anything about motorcycles. So, step one, get yourself a motorcycle, preferably a beginner bike. I have the best beginner bike right here, the 2024 Kawasaki ZX-10R. It's marketed as being the best beginner bike for anyone who's never been on a motorcycle before. So, someone's passing by. Hello, nice to meet you. Okay. So, get yourself a Kawasaki ZX-10R. Or, you know, there's plenty of other beginner bikes out there. If you do value your life and you don't actually want to die, I'd recommend like a Ninja 400 or a CF Moto 450 SS. Anything that has 400 in its name. Probably a good beginner bike. As well as, you know, some 650s are really nice. Like the Ninja 650 or the MT-07, the R7, the R3. Do your research however you want. Get whatever bike you want. Just get something that you like, that you think is cool, and that isn't going to kill you when you accidentally give it too much throttle and dump the clutch. What is the throttle? What is the clutch? Well, let's get into the cockpit here, okay? This right side handlebar, the one that goes twist, twist, that's your throttle. More twist, more zooms. This one on the left doesn't have a twist. That's because it's just for a handlebar. You just hold it. In front of your throttle is the brake for your front wheel. That's the one that you want to use the most. The left brake is not a brake at all. That's a clutch. This is how you shift gears to go even quicker. Whenever you pull in the clutch, how do you shift gears? Well, that's going to be this little lever right here on the left side of the bike. On the right side of the bike is your rear tire brake. Don't look at my chicken strips. I just got this bike, okay? All right, so we have our throttle, front brake, regular handlebar grip, clutch. We have the rear brake, and we have the selector, okay? So now that you're familiar with all the parts of a motorcycle that you need to use to ride it, we're going to talk about how to mount the bike. You always want to mount the bike from the left side. Now, why is that? Well, that's the side that the kickstand goes down on, so the bike is leaning toward its left side. Also, on the right side, you have this big hot exhaust that sticks out. You don't want to burn yourself on that. Say you've been riding around, you step off the bike for a little bit, and then you try to get back on, you run the risk of burning your skin real bad on this exhaust. Has it ever happened to someone? I don't know. That's probably why they say to mount the bike on the left. I'm not a pro. This is just a quick tutorial. Anyway, so you're going to grab the handlebars with your left hand. You're going to take your right leg and swing it over the back of the bike. Like that. Then you're going to move your body whoosh, to go on the bike. At this point, the bike is still tilted over, so you're going to need to use your legs and prop it up. My hands aren't on the handlebars, but they should be. Just like that, give you a little more stability. And then you're going to turn the handlebars forward. Just like that. I thought I had my bar lock on and I was going to talk about that, but I didn't. Now, before you even start the bike, get a feel for the weight. Just bounce it left and right. It's not going to hurt you. It might hurt you if you have small legs. If you have small legs, don't do this. Just get it up and hold it. And get comfortable holding it like that. Next, we're going to start the bike. But you do that just like a car by turning the key right. You'll see the dash light up. Because mine's a beginner bike, my dash isn't very cool. And it'll show you all your cool things. Before you start the bike, there's a couple things to note right here on the dash. The main thing you're looking for is this big green N. Your bike may not have a gear indicator. That's okay. It will have a big green N if you're in neutral. Every bike has that. You do not want to start your bike if it's not in neutral. If you aren't in neutral, there's an easy way to do that. Easy way to start the bike, just by holding in the clutch and then starting it. Because if you try to start your bike and it's not in neutral, you're just going to stall out and look like a weirdo. Okay? Now that we're here, we've verified the bike is in neutral, but we're going to just pull in the clutch just to be safe. Now, different bikes have different ways to start. Mine is this little switch thing. You have the kill, you have the live, and you have the start. The live, I'm making up, you know what I mean. So with the clutch pulled in, we verified we're in neutral, so you don't need to pull in the clutch, but we're going to do it anyway for safety's sake. Now we're going to pull down on this, and the bike is started. Nice little revs, we're in neutral. At this point, we can slowly let out the clutch, okay? So go ahead, rock the bike back and forth using your feet. And something we can do is, to get used to the brake, is you can rock it forward, slowly apply the brake, and you'll feel the bike stop. That'll give you a nice feel for the brakes, okay? Again, we want to be mostly using our front brake. Front brake makes up about 80% of your braking power on a motorcycle. You don't want to use your foot brake too much, because if you use that too much, your rear wheel will lock up, your bike will slide out, and you'll die. Okay? So just do that for a little bit. Just rock it back and forth, feel that brake, rock it back, rock it forward, slowly squeeze the brake. Another thing to note, nothing we do here today should be a fast, jerky motion. Everything should be nice and smooth. Okay, nice and smooth on the throttle, nice and smooth on the brake, and especially nice and smooth pulling in the clutch and letting out the clutch, okay? So, let's talk about gears. Right now we're in neutral. Who in the class would like to tell us where neutral is as it fits into the gears? That's right. It's between first and second gear. Neutral is right between there. So it goes first gear, neutral, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, and sixth gear if you have a sixth gear. Some smaller bikes don't have a sixth gear. But we won't be getting into sixth gear today, so that doesn't really matter. Now, how do we get out of neutral? Well, we're going to want to go into first. So we're in neutral right now. We'll need to click our shifter down, click with our foot into first, and then the rest will be up, unless you have a GP shift motorcycle, which is up one into first and the rest are down. All right, for the purpose of this video, we're just going to assume that you have the normal method of shifting, not that weirdo racing MotoGP shift stuff. All right, so we're going to pull in the clutch, both hands on the motorcycle, and you're just going to, well, first of all, pull your kickstand up. If you try to go into first with your kickstand down, the bike will die. It's a safety feature, very nice. Anyway, we're gonna pull the bike over on our right leg. That way it's sitting upright. Just put a tiny amount of weight on the right leg just so it doesn't fall over to the left, okay? We're gonna kick down into first. You'll hear a clunk, the bike will shift a little bit, and now you're in first gear, okay? Without giving it any throttle whatsoever, what I'd like you to do is very, 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 very slowly release the clutch until you feel the bike start to move just a little bit, okay? So right about here, I moved it maybe 1.5 inches. The bike is starting to go on its own, okay? And pull it back in, pull in the brake. In fact, let's not even move it. Let's just let out the clutch until it starts to move forward. And boom, boom, pull the clutch back in, and then slowly squeeze the brake, okay? This is called the friction zone. The friction zone is right where the transmission starts to get power from the engine. All right, boom, pulling the brake, nice and slow. These brakes are very touchy, so it may look like it's jumping a little bit. We're going, pulling the brake, slowly squeeze the brake. Let go of the clutch, get the friction zone. Once you reach the friction zone, stop. Pull on the clutch, slowly squeeze the brake, okay? And mind you, we are not using the throttle whatsoever. We are just working the clutch right now. The clutch is the most important skill, in my opinion, right? No throttle. We're just working the clutch, idling forward, in first gear. All right, and once you get the hang of that, you can start to slowly apply a little bit of throttle. Okay, so you want to be gradually giving it throttle as you're letting off the clutch. Okay, really, there's so if you look at your throttle, there's like a little bit of play and it hits a wall. You just barely want to engage that wall. So it's a little bit of play, take it to the wall, and then go just barely past it. That's how much throttle you want to be giving it right now. So bring it to the friction zone, give it just a little bit of throttle, and then you can slowly keep releasing that clutch, and you're going. A little bit of throttle on there, okay? And then when you're ready to stop, you pull in the clutch, lay off the throttle, slowly squeeze the front brake until you come to a complete stop, okay? Now I'm gonna turn around here, show off my slow speed maneuvering skills. All right, so I'm gonna demonstrate what happens whenever you let the clutch out a little too fast. So we're going, I'm ready to go. Oh no, my bike stalled, it won't go anymore. That's okay, you let out the clutch a little bit too fast without giving it enough throttle, okay? All you gotta do now, remember this little starter, pull in the clutch because you're still in first gear, and restart the bike. That's all it is, okay? And then you just try again. You try to do that fewer times and fewer times until eventually you're riding in first gear. That was the hardest part, is getting going from first. The rest is super easy, okay? Because from here, you can just ride around in first, and then whenever the revs start to get a little bit high and you're ready to transition out of first gear, you just pull in the clutch just like we did, boom, and you shift up. So you're taking your foot and you're moving it up into second, and then same thing, roll on the throttle as you slowly let out the clutch, and what do you know, you're in second. Now you've gotten the bike rolling, you know how to mount the bike, you know how to start the bike, you know where your friction zone is. Let's talk about turning, okay? At speeds around, I don't know, maybe we'll say under 15 miles an hour, your motorcycle will steer pretty much just like a regular bicycle, okay? If you turn the bars to the left, they go to the left. If you turn the bars to the right, it goes to the right. But 20 miles an hour and faster, you have to use what's called countersteering. All right, countersteering is super scary to someone who doesn't understand it. It's very hard to explain, but once you get on a motorcycle and you feel it, it actually makes sense. Like it clicks and you're like, oh, that's all it is? That's all countersteering is? That's no big deal. That's totally natural. And so don't overthink it. It's just you're pushing and pulling. It's not so much that you're turning the handlebars in the wrong direction. Because when people think of countersteering, they think, oh, you have to turn left to go right? Not necessarily. You're more so pushing in that direction. Okay? So if I wanted to take this right turn, for example, I would push the bars on the right side, just like that. And see, even though I'm pushing, it wants to take it to the right, even though technically the bars are turning to the left. Okay? I know it's confusing. If you're just watching this video through, you don't have a bike yet, you're just trying to learn, get the information down before you start, it's gonna be very confusing and a little scary. Because what happens when you're going 80 miles an hour down the freeway, dude? Am I just supposed to trust it? You won't have to trust it. It'll make sense, I promise. Once you get on a bike and you try countersteering for the first time, you'll be like, oh, no, that makes total sense. Because you feel the weight shift. It's like, oh, you'll be all right. So anyway, that's my take on the million videos of how to ride a motorcycle. Thank you for watching, and good luck on your journey. Take care.